Hello squaddies, and welcome back to the Shattered Isles. As always, I am D, and today here in Dauntless I'll be bringing you the Fearless Slayer's Bestiary guide for hunting the Stormclaw. Now, the Stormclaw is an interesting beast for a couple of reasons. First off, it is a larger cousin. I'm basing the cousin thing based on appearance and general behaviors. It is a larger cousin to the Embermane, but as you can probably tell from the name, Stormclaw, it doesn't use fire. It favors using lightning. And it has, let's see, what was it? 9 attacks. Okay. Yeah, 9. But the Stormclaw actually is very unique in one specific respect that I've found. Namely, as far as I've seen so far, it is the only behemoth in the game that doesn't actually have an enrage. I've fought this thing numerous times. In fact, that's where my my gauntlets come from. It's Stormclaw armor. But the Stormclaw does not have an enrage. Instead, it depends more on a lot of quick movements, a lot like, again, the Embermane. And a lot of good, pardon the bad pun, shock value to its attacks. Now, luckily, we've got a pretty strong team here, with a hammer user and a swordsman. Ooh, Phoenix Opal? Phoenix Opal. Good. I need this stuff. Now, I'm also going to start... Oop, there it is. I'm going to start encouraging you guys as well to learn the elemental weaknesses. In the Stormclaw's case, you'll notice that I'm using my Hell Pike. That is the weakness of the Stormclaw, is fire damage. Now, similar to its cousin as well, the main... Oh, in fact, you can see some of the Stormclaw lightning there. I don't know what that came from. Cat, not the time. You gotta go on the floor. Alright. There you see it, actually. Now, the Stormclaw actually has a similar... Right there you have ball lightning. It starts off very similar to the idea of the flame mortar from the Embermane. But it comes out quicker and it launches a lightning ball. This will knock you down, do some damage, and also apply shock. A lot of the Stormclaw's abilities do that. Another thing you can see is over here. These are remnants of another attack it has. I'm going to go ahead and take these out because I can use these. You're going to notice these are Thunder Spines, a lot similar to the Nezaga. But that is actually, those are, I call it the Thunder Cage. It's usually one of the 2 attacks that the Stormclaw likes to open up with. Another one is basically a charge, a lot like what the Embermane does. Okay. What you just saw there is probably the most dangerous attack. That's the Thunderstorm. Damn it, I tried to time that, but the Thunderstorm, the Stormclaw will charge off, roar, and then also gather in lightning to itself. Okay, here you see it forming the Thunder Cage. Actually, what I'll do is... That right there is something similar to the Embermane as well. It's during the... Because the Stormclaw actually does have a charge just like its cousin, and it actually behaves exactly the same way. Anyway, the Thunderstorm. Like I was saying, the Stormclaw will actually charge away. Damn it. It'll charge off, roar like that, and gather lightning. A storm cloud will form above every single Slayer in the party that is in the fight. It'll give you some warning shots, and they'll speed up as it goes. That eventually unleashes a damaging bolt. This is actually very difficult to dodge until you can learn the timing. That right there is something I'll talk about in a minute as well, with the ball lightning. Oh good, I actually broke its horns off. Ooh, got a blue. Sorry. Okay, I can't actually interact because I'm shocked. Alright, now, eventually all but one of the storm clouds will disappear, and you see giving off the warning bolts. When the gap between them gets really short is when you want to start dodging. Now, there's just a simple tail swipe. What I'll do is I'll name off the... I think what I'll do is I'll try and name off the attacks, and then I'll describe them later on when I get a chance. Because the Stormclaw is a very quick... Just like with the Embermane, it's a very quick, very kinetic fight. There is just a claw lunge. That right there is what I like to call the thunderclap. A lot of the tells you can also kind of see yourself if you're paying attention. The reason I didn't cancel that is because I had a stronger shot that I could store. Now, okay. Like I said, I'll name them off and I'll try and talk about them during the fight, but it's actually kind of difficult because, like I said, this thing is very fast. We won't see the twisting horn anymore because I broke the horns off. Actually, no, we still will. I forgot. This one actually does use that still. We've seen the thunderclap. We've seen the charge, kind of. One thing about the charge is it will always use the charge once it finishes creating the thunder cage. I don't think we'll see thunder cage anymore because of the fact that the horns are broken. I'm gonna go ahead and send up my flare just so the other guy can find us. Again, you see the tail swipe there. Incoming thunderclap. The charge, that right there is the twisting horn, by the way. The lunge. We haven't seen the lightning dash recently, but you saw that it's the attack where the Stormclaw turns itself into lightning for a moment before charging off at a target. Here comes the thunderstorm. You really want to spread out with this because the bolts do have some AoE. Okay, you saw me miss the last one, but you saw me dodge the first two. But you saw how you have to wait until the timing on the bolts gets really short and then dodge. That's the best way to deal with the thunderstorm attack. Also, you'll notice how sometimes the ball lightning seems to go back towards the Stormclaw. That is something I will be able to talk about, is you can actually hit that with your weapon, and you can actually launch it back towards the Stormclaw, although you want to be careful because you can also launch it back towards your team, which is not what you want. Then store that shot. Okay, real quick. I'm going to talk about a couple of the tells. The Stormclaw, the Thunderclap. It takes a short hop back and rears up on its hind legs. Then it launches forward to roughly where it started. This does cause an AoE where it lands, so you want to be careful and try and avoid that. The charge, it's just like the same with the Embermane. In fact, you'll probably see it here. It usually starts off every round with it. Let's see if I can get it to charge at me so that... There we go! You get the exact same opportunity on the charge with this thing as you do against the Embermane. There's the lunge. We're actually near the end of the fight here, so I can start talking about it. The lightning dash. It starts off a lot like the small charge for the Embermane, but when it turns around, it pauses a little bit longer, or it seems to pause a little bit longer, and then it rapidly dashes at a target by turning into lightning. It's very hard to dodge this because, I mean, the thing is turned into living lightning, and it's always it ends with a claw swipe is how it attacks, ultimately. And there we go, we win. Now, okay, the Thunder Cage. This is usually how the second attack it will use after the charge attack that you saw me break it on. I didn't do very well. What it does is it dashes in a single direction, usually towards a Slayer. It will not directly attack during this, and usually just goes right by. It drops a single Thunder Spike, like from the Nezaga, then turns and does a flying leap. It'll do the leap 4 times. At the end of each leap, it will drop another spike. These spikes will then form a lightning cage or a lightning fence between each other. You want to be careful because this does quite a bit of damage and will shock you. You can attack the spines to break them. And here's the trick. If there's 3 left, they should be forming a corner. Break the corner, because that'll break the others. As soon as the spines will only connect to the ones they originally connected to. They will not form new connections. Once all the ones that they originally connected to are gone, the rest of the spikes will break. Or that spike will break. Next up, Thunderstorm. You saw it runs off, kind of similar to the Lightning Dash. Then it hunches its shoulders and roars, and lightning kind of gathers all over it. Storm clouds form above each Slayer. All but one of them will eventually disappear. That one will start sending out warning bolts that speed up over time really quickly. As soon as the lightning gets really close together, that's when you want to start dodging. Otherwise, you're pretty much going to have to spam dodge. Now, this does have an AoE. The Thunderstorm attack has an AoE, so you want to be careful about your positioning. You kind of want to stay away from your teammates on this one. Twisting Horn moves its head and shoulders away from the direction that it's going to attack, and then it sweeps its head and horns in that direction. But it starts this just before that. It'll lift its feet slightly off the ground. Kind of does a headbutt in the direction, opposite the way it originally moved, like I said. It roughly hits about 40 degrees on the rotation of its movement, and ends with its front end higher up in the air than it did when it lifted them up at the start. You can actually dodge through this; it's not that difficult. The lunge, it kind of draws back its front end on one side, lunges forward very quickly. It tries to bite and claw at the same time, so be careful there. The tail spin. This is probably the most common attack you'll see out of the Stormclaw, and you can actually make this a lot less dangerous by breaking its tail, because it gives it a lot less area to hit you with. It'll look in a direction, and its tail will actually curve in that same direction. About halfway up from about halfway down the tail from the base is how far that goes. Then it'll spin. I think it's a 180. I don't think it's a 360. I'm pretty sure it's just a 180-degree spin. It's got a pretty good sized hitbox, so again, you can roll through this one, so go for it if you think you can manage it. Next up, the ball, and the last of the attacks for the Stormclaw is the ball lightning. Makes a similar motion, like I said, to the Embermane when it gets ready to launch its flame mortars, where it kind of stands off at a distance, kind of bobs its front end a little bit, and then leaps its front end into the air. It actually kind of leaps a little bit back, I think, as well. It launches a ball lightning, a lot like what comes out of the thunder spines from the Nezaga. You saw it a lot in that last fight. It usually launches it at each Slayer. Sometimes it'll only launch at one Slayer. I haven't found the difference. These cause quite a bit of damage. They do knock you down, and they do cause shock damage, or they cause shock status. And this is also another opportunity. There's two on this one, because with the charge, like I said earlier, you can knock it down if you do the same thing you did to it that you did to the Embermane. But with the ball lightning, this is not an immediate opportunity. You have to hit, if you can time it just right, and it's very difficult because of the speed these things move at, and you're never 100% certain on the timing. At least I'm not. You can actually knock the ball lightning back towards the Stormclaw. That'll become important later on as well when we get into the Maelstrom beasts, because I am going to cover those. This causes a little bit of damage to the Stormclaw, and has a chance to knock it over. The timing is the difficult part on knocking back the ball lightning. And remember, the Stormclaw is unique in that it does not have an enrage. Well, folks, again, these are going to get... I'm sorry if these go kind of quick, but... And they get a little bit chaotic at times, I know. But that's because these fights where I have to have teams with me, I have to focus on helping my team first. So, I'm sorry about that. I do try my best at this. I'm not professional at this by any means, I know. But if you enjoyed, please feel free to like or favorite the video. You can also dislike it if you want. I know that's a thing. If you want, you can also leave a comment down below. If you dislike the video, please let me know why. And I can work on that. But, like I said, you can also leave a comment down below if you have anything you'd like to say. And if you want to keep up with me and never miss any of my current series or any of my future guides, then please consider joining this channel, joining the squadron, and subscribing to the channel. That does help me out, and I really do appreciate it. But as for that, folks, I have been D. This has been the Fearless Slayer's Bestiary entry for the Stormclaw. Until next time, good night, and good gaming.